What's the most ridiculous rule your parents ever made? Because mine have reached the point where they need to hold family meetings before creating a new rule for me. I'm 17, and apparently, I have a special talent. My parents make a rule, I follow the exact words of that rule, and somehow, by the end of the day, they're sitting at the kitchen table wondering where they went wrong. It started when I was 14. My parents made the classic rule, no food upstairs, fine. 10 minutes later, my mom found me sitting halfway up the staircase eating pizza. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "This isn't upstairs, I'm currently in transit." She added, "No food on the stairs." Okay, so I started eating on the little landing between floors. That rule lasted exactly 11 minutes. After that, my dad got serious. No eating anywhere except the kitchen or dining room. The next night, I carried my dinner table into the hallway. Not my food, the entire small folding table. I sat down and said, "Technically, I'm eating at the dining table." My dad just stared at me. My mom said, "Don't encourage her." He said, "I didn't." Then came the phone rule. Your phone stays downstairs after 10 p.m. At 9:59, I placed my phone on the kitchen counter. At 10:03, my dad walked past my room and heard TikTok. He burst inside. I was watching videos on the Apple Watch I borrowed from my brother. He said I said no phone. I said correct, so we changed it. No screens after 10. That night, at 11:30, I was lying in bed wearing a pair of headphones. My dad opened the door. No screens? Nope. What are you listening to? An 8-hour YouTube documentary. He took the headphones. The next rule was no electronics, headphones, or devices after 10 p.m. This is where things escalated. The next morning, I went to Staples. I printed the entire Wikipedia page for the weirdest celebrity scandals I could find. 32 pages. That night, my mom found me reading them under a flashlight. She said, "You printed the internet." I said, "You said no devices." She took the papers, so I started writing down things from the internet before 10 p.m. and reading them later. My dad finally snapped. He said, "New rule. After 10 p.m., you go to sleep. No exceptions." I nodded. That night at 10:01, I went to sleep. At 2 a.m., I woke up. My dad walked into the kitchen and nearly dropped his water. "Why are you up?" I said, "You told me to go to sleep after 10. I did. Mission accomplished." He stood there silently. Then he said, "You know what I meant." I said, "That sounds like a you problem." After that, my parents created what they called the final rule. They sat me down like I was being interrogated by the FBI. My dad said, "From now on, if you know what we mean, you have to follow what we mean, not what we literally say." My mom smiled like they had finally beaten me. I thought about it. Then I said, "Okay." For 2 whole weeks, I was perfect. No loopholes, no arguments, no weird technicalities. My parents were suspicious. Then one Friday, my mom said, "Can you please clean your room?" I looked around. Clothes everywhere. Backpack on the floor. Bed unmade. I said, "Sure." An hour later, she opened my bedroom door. The room was completely empty. She froze. "Where is everything?" I pointed outside. Every single thing I owned was neatly arranged on the front lawn. Clothes, desk, chair, posters, even my mattress. She screamed, "Why is your bed in the driveway?" I said, "You told me to clean my room." She said, "I meant." Then she stopped. My dad slowly walked into the hallway. They both looked at me. I smiled because they remembered the final rule. Follow what they mean, right? My dad took a deep breath. Then he said, "You know what? Keep the furniture outside." My mom looked at him. "What?" He pointed at me. "If she wants to sleep in the driveway, that's between her and the raccoons." And that was the first time my parents ever found a loophole before I did.